I'm so honored to be included anywhere in this list. But you can see that Sri Goelji also has immense uh, experience and education, and has received so many honors. Uh, um, so many honors in the course of his study of serving Jyotish. Of course, we know we know him as a prolific author, and some of the best, most distinguished books, specializing in he's known as a specialist in divisional charts, and has written on dashas and Jaimini and the application of Jaimini, and I'll be calling upon Goelji to talk to us about the contents of his books. Of course, he started out life in a different career as in engineering, and I think that training probably also somehow acts as a beneficial support for learning Jyotish as well. So many things to measure in Jyotish, aren't there? It takes a good engineering mind to do that properly. So uh, I'm honored to be able to ask you a few questions about your life, Goel G. And although I could go on and on with your introductions, I think that we'll let your words speak for yourself here, and
Yeah.
and shall we just jump into our questions?
So Charlotte, I just
Yeah.
like to ask Rakesh Sharma to also speak a little bit about VP Goel before we jump into the question.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead,
yeah,
Rakesh, please.
yeah. I'm Rakesh Sharma. I met Goel Saab about a couple of years ago. I visited his house in Gurgaon and then discussed astrology. And that is when I realized he has a very great insight about divisional charts. And of course, he has written a book, and also his students have written a book about their experience on uh, his techniques and that how it works and all. So it is not only he has written a book, but his students also have written a book about their experience with Goel Saab's technique. So that is a very big compliment. He has retired couple of years ago after selling his company to a large company in India, and before that he was working for the Indian government and the Indian Engineering Services, and before that he graduated from Iit Kharagpur, the first IIT of India, which was founded in 1953. So he has a very enriched experience of all walks of life, and he's a great astrologer, written many books, and we decided to invite him, and he came, and it was a eureka. So now here is Mr. Goel uh, with all his experience, all his humility, and all his knowledge. So welcome, Mr. Goel. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Charlotte, now it's all yours.
Well, well, all right then. So I think you'll have a lot to. I think you'll have a lot to tell us, Goel G. So shall we do this chronologically? Would you like to tell us about your beginnings in Jyotish? Um, where are you now? Something happened here.
Yeah.
Should we start at the beginning, and what led you into your first experiences with the divine science of Jyotish?
Oh, firstly, I thank the honor which is given to me by the uh, Devi of light, that is Jyoti Devi, who dispels all ignorance and darkness and lead us to the light of life. You see, actually, as per my horoscope, I think it started very early in my life. I didn't do any duty, but it was my grandfather who could not read Hindi. So when I was in first or second standard and started reading Hindi, he asked me to read Ramayana for him. When I was, say, 6 or 7 years old, and he was about 80 years old. So he will give me half a paisa or some money after I read Ramayana for him. So that made me a known person at this age. So in the village, people will come because my grandfather was a senior person in the village. So they will come for the advice. And before my grandfather will speak or he will ask me, without knowing anything, I will tell them something. I don't know how. And he will give me some money. I will go and buy some sweets and play around with friends. So this continued. This gave me some insight or some inclination. When I was in 8th or 9th standard, then I started thinking how these things work. So that time I started reading all these junk books which were available in the open market and was happy. Then the main turning point came when I got selected into Indian Engineering Services. I was posted in a field area, and after 1 year of my service in 1970, one officer came as trainee under me, and he was a good astrologer. It was a field area, what to do in the evening. So he taught me how to cast a horoscope. It was in 1970. And he taught me I could quickly make a horoscope. My mathematics is very strong. And then we will go to other officers, make their horoscope, have some fun with them, predicting something. And that was the pastime. Then what happened? I met a serious accident in 1972. I will give you two instances which turned my life towards astrology. So, in 1972, I had a very serious accident. Doctors gave a telegram to my family that you can come, he is not likely to survive. But I somehow survived. And then I was shifted to AIMS in Delhi in, say, October 1970 and was undergoing treatment. My right eye was totally damaged. So after 2 months of hard work, many operations, almost every week, the doctor said we cannot save his eye. We will plant a stone eye. My father got worried. He went to an astrologer who was a teacher also. My father was a principal in a school. And that great teacher, V.P. Bhatia ji, He was an astrologer. So my father went to him and asked him, do I go for this eye surgery and remove his eye? Bhatia Sahib said, no, his Venus is exalted, his eyesight will not be lost. He will have to undergo some difficult times, but his eyes will not be lost. So my father also said, yes, I do not want his eye to be removed. And that right eye is perfect now. After that, first instance, I said, what is this? I was a mature person, a government officer that time. Second instance, Ministry of Defense wanted me to do my post-graduation in production management. And management was a very much sought subject. I said, okay. And I was sent to Kharagpur, Iit Kharagpur, for my post-graduation. At the same time, my younger daughter was being born. She was born in August. The classes started in July. I went to university, the college, after she was born. And when I went there, the officers, the clerks, they all laughed at me. They said, the course has already started. You are 2 months late. And no vacancy now. Go back. I said, I have to go back to the ministry again, get some other posting. I may lose my salary, that I am not on duty. So what do I do? Then I took courage, went inside to the registrar's office, that, sir, I have come that far. Give me any course. Whatever course you want, if not production management. They said, we have one vacancy in air conditioning and refrigeration. I said, I will do that. And I joined. And after I resigned from my service, air conditioning and refrigeration became my profession. That was all planned by God, not by me. So I said, how these things happen? So before that, I started going to G.P. Bhatia after my eyes recovered, and he and Manek Chand Jain, you must have heard his name, a very big person name in Western astrology. So Bhatia they were very good friends. So he used to take me to Manek Chand. And in the evening we will go, and by 10 o'clock, say after 2 hours, they will start fighting, Bhatia and MC Jain. And I am a silent spectator. I used to hear their arguments, and they will come to even blows. They were so intense for Jyotish rules. And this thing, then 10 o'clock, I will come back home. And next day again, they will meet. They will fight one night. Next day again, they will meet. So that is how my desire to learn astrology came up. This is my story of start of Jyotish and my fascination towards it.
Well, that's quite an amazing trajectory. It's wonderful that you made the acquaintance of people that were so passionate about
Yes.
Jyotish.
Yes. They used to come to blows, abuse each other like anything.
Well, well, that's an interesting way to get your inspiration, especially for someone like you with exalted Venus. But
Yeah. No, I have two planets exalted.
oh,
Sun is exalted, Venus exalted, and I have two debilitated planets. That is Mercury and Moon.
well,
Yes.
interesting.
But
I am.
Sharmaji, what I feel, this is all destined by God, by the Almighty. That what He writes everything, what you are going to do, and we are only deciphering it, learning something, a drop in the ocean.
Mm,
That's all.
well, that's very poetic and true, of course.
Mhm.
Spoken like a person with planets in Pisces. So I am happy to hear about it. Hear you reveal such intimate details about your life. I'm always interested in the type of planets the person has to indicate that they'll be a great Jyotishi. So,
Yeah.
uh, and we're
I have found that now.
oh,
Now something I know, something about it.
uh,
What I can share is, first of all, a appropriate dasha period has to come.
oh yes,
Whether you have any yogas or anything, but the appropriate dasha period has to come.
mm-hmm.
And for learning any occult science, dasha of planets related to 8th house or 8th lord must be there. Like I was born in Saturn dasha. Saturn is my 8th lord. After Saturn, it is Mercury. Mercury is aspected by Saturn. After Mercury comes Ketu.
Mm-hmm.
Ketu is also aspected by Saturn. After Ketu comes Venus. Venus is also aspected by Saturn. After Venus, it is Sun. Sun is not related to Saturn or 8th house. So during Sun period of 6 years, I was busy in my business. I did not practice astrology at that time. That was from 89 to 95. After that, it is Moon period.
Mm-hmm.
Moon is in the nakshatra of Saturn. And there I completed my Jyotish Acharya and Alankar. I sold all my business in Moon period in 2000. And from 2000 till date, I have not done any professional work except Jyotish. That is also as a hobby. For last 20 years, no earning through other means or even Jyotish. I do not want to earn through Jyotish. After Moon, it was Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Mars is aspected by Saturn again. From 2012, it is Rahu period. Rahu is with Saturn in Lagna. So throughout, I am blessed to have the Dasha periods related to 8th house, 8th lord. First point. Second point, who can be a good astrologer?
Yes, please tell us that.
The first and the most superior relation is of Ketu. Ketu is the planet of occult sciences and deep knowledge. It gives deeper knowledge than even Saturn. Saturn gives concentration, Ketu gives deep knowledge. So the rule is that Ketu should have connection with Jupiter or and not or. It should have a connection by aspect conjunction with Jupiter and fifth or ninth lord. Sometimes you can include Lagna lord. So it should be connected to Ketu, trine lord and Jupiter. My Ketu is in 7th house, aspected by Jupiter, Saturn and Jupiter both. Saturn is the trine lord, 8th lord and 9th lord also. One relation, this is the, I will say, the most important or the biggest relation to learn occult sciences. Then in normal talk, we say Jupiter and Mercury are the planets who give learning in Jyotish. They should be related to Kendras or trines. But before that, we must check Ketu. I will give one more principle of Gemini astrology.
Okay.
That from Karkansh Lagna, the 5th house must have a relation with Saturn or Mercury to become proficient. My Karkansh Lagna is Aquarius. 5th house from that is Gemini. Saturn is sitting there with Rahu in Gemini, aspected by 4 more planets. This is God given. I have not created this, and neither I take pride in that. Yes, it is bestowed by God.
Well,
so this is the connection I have in my horoscope.
Well, you've been blessed with that, and therefore we've been blessed too with
No. It is my honor.
Well, thank you for putting your experience and your own education into so many books for our benefit. That it's wonderful here to hear your biography seen through your dasha sequence. But somewhere in those dashas, you managed to create some brilliant works for publication. Do you have a special favorite technique that you would use if you only could use one technique?
No. I can say why this came to me. Writing all these divisional charts or Yogini Dasha. Yogini Dasha, a good method, I will say a brilliant method to give the timing of events. But what made me think about these things is in our learning, we learned that there is a house, then there is a house lord, then there is a Karak. So, what is the difference between them?
Oh, I like that question.
Yeah,
Yes. What is the difference?
That puzzled me for a long time. And when I framed, or it came to the mind that somewhere I read that planets are no different than human beings.
Okay.
So I coined a phrase, thought that planets do whatever you will do under the same circumstances.
Okay.
You put yourself into the planet's shoes and think what you will do. The planets will do the same thing. Then in the normal knowledge, I said, a house is a house. Then house lord is the owner of that house. So in daily life, what a house owner does, if he is a bad person, he will disturb and not let the tenants be happy, those who are living in his house. If he is a good person, he will take care of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So house can only be destroyed if the Lord is bad. Then what is Karak? I said Karak is the beauty. Because they are connected with all these things, beauty.
Beauty.
So I started confirming it. I noticed in Navamsha, if the seventh Lord is under malefic influence, then the marriage will not stay. They will get separated or divorced. Seventh house is the marriage. Your marriage can be good or bad. Does not matter. Are you able to keep the marriage going? That is the work of the house lord.
Mm.
So, I had seen many bad marriages, but the house lord is good.
Mm-hmm.
He is not having any malefic influence. The marriage is going on. You have a very good marriage. Seventh house is wonderful, all benefits. But the seventh lord is with Rahu and Ketu, aspected by Mars.
Oh dear.
Even a very good marriage, you are married to a princess, but you cannot keep up the marriage.
Mm.
You will ruin it.
Oh dear.
So this principle, I started applying. And it applied on every horoscope, on all divisional charts.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, I started developing. Another thing, for any divisional chart, your lagna is the desire for that divisional chart. What you want from that. And the lagna lord is the way how you will achieve your desire.
Mm-hmm.
It applies. These are simple rules. And Parashar, Brihat Parashar Rurasa now became the biggest source for all things. Like we used to think D4, everybody will look for the house I will build, where I will travel or not. But Parasharji has written Bhagya Chinta, that from D4 you have to judge your luck. This I am going to cover on 29th in my lecture.
Excellent.
Then see small items like for D27, Parashadi said, Bala Balam. The strength is to be seen from D27. I said, if strength is to be seen, why not weakness?
Oh.
When you say fourth house is the house of happiness, it is the house of unhappiness also. On that basis, I wrote the book Locate Disease. D27, to find out the weakness or the strength of your body, of your horoscope. Oh, sorry, I am going too far. Too much. I am talking now.
No, we want you to talk. We want you to talk.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean these ideas and this research that you've done. Well, I mean, thank goodness for the connection of your 8th house lord to all your planets, so you can really dig deep and do this sort of research and look through lead walls to find
one sentence of Parashati. See, that way I have written 14 books now. 14.
Wow.
All new ideas. No repetition. And 6 of them have been translated into Russian language. 6 books.
Excellent. Oh, yes, and here now we...
Yeah, Meenakshi has got all these with me, for me.
Isn't that beautiful? My goodness, you've been busy. You've been busy in your life, sir. So yes, someone wrote in that each one of these books individually is a magnum opus. So congratulations on.
Thank you very much.
And
it was possible with the support of the students. They used to ask questions, and I will start finding the answers.
Well, that's a great mutual exchange between the teacher and the students. Well, so with all this these beautiful options for your books, for a beginning student, I'm always an advocate for people that are starting out, dipping their toes into the ocean of Jyotish. And it can seem so overwhelming. I mean, just looking at this screen, if I were beginning, I would say, gosh, where to start here? Do you have a suggestion of reading these in sequence, perhaps, or what's your advice to students about?
No. Read any book. The principles are same.
Okay.
Like Dashamsha, Navamsha, Saptamsha, all principles are same.
Okay.
Then other things, the longevity, I don't advise, because it is very difficult to predict the longevity.
Thank you. That's what I have found.
Yes.
Yes.
I have given a method here.
Oh.
And if it is from Phaldipika. See,
Okay.
this method is of Phaldipika. In short, if I tell you, Phaldipika has said the longevity can be checked from D3 and D12. Only this sentence. This one sentence made me write this book.
Wow.
And how to use D3 and D12 in steps to find out the blocks of eye, the age, full age, medium age, lower age, and how to relate them. If somebody understands it, beautiful, very good. But it is not easy to understand. Let me repeat that also.
Yeah. That's an understatement. Well, well, sir, I would like to ask you a technical question. Maybe it's not a technical question, it's more of a philosophical question. Let's just say I'd like to ask you a question, and I hope it doesn't open up some real controversy here. But so you are a global recognized expert in the use of divisional charts, as we can clearly see from your work here. How is it that you can be confident about a client's stated time of birth? I mean, all of these divisional charts are obviously very time sensitive. If
Yes.
stated birth time is off by a few minutes, please tell me you don't rectify each one of your clients' charts before you.
No, I normally rectify it.
You what, sir?
I rectify them.
You rectify each chart. Wow.
No, sometimes when I'm in doubt.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Like, one thing I want to make clear, I do not do consultations.
Okay. Thank you. That's a very
Yes.
useful piece of information for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Secondly, whenever I do consultation for some friends,
Okay.
he has to be my friend first.
Okay.
Then I try to see whether the chart is correct or not.
Right.
In my classes, I have told a few techniques of birth time rectification. And I have not shared it up till now, but I use Gemini Karaks and the divisional chart of Parashar. They always have a link. Each divisional chart is having a link with Gemini Karaks. I will stop here, not go further.
Yes, I'm taking a lot of notes. I'm learning a lot from you.
No. You are too good to me.
Yes. Well, it's my honor to do that. Well, so I'm thinking so you would consider yourself mainly a researcher and an author and a teacher, and so we had a question from a viewer, a listener, about studying on her own. So I understand that you're pretty much an autodidact. You didn't necessarily have a guru, and you
Yes.
figured out a lot of things on your own. And so you think that can still be done in this modern age?
Yes, I read a lot. Every day I read.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
day, at least for 2-3 hours. I read even a classic I have read once, I will again open it.
Okay.
And that gives the idea.
Okay.
See, we are not doing anything new. which is not given by the saints, by the classics. It is already available.
Right. And so students now, contemporary students, like an hour ago, we heard from Simon, and he's found it a very interesting way to contemporize the
Yes.
traditional knowledge, and I think that's very important for the support of Jyotish. I mean, especially in the West. Of course, I can only give you my experience since I'm obviously a Westerner, but
Yeah.
but I think the contemporization of the application of these principles is very important so that society can understand the value of Jyotish. I know that
Yes.
the traditional society in India and South Asia understands the value of Jyotish, but here we are in the West, things are such a mess, and such a mess here currently. I think it would my position is the world needs as many well-trained astrologers and Jyotishis as possible. So first of all, again, thank you for offering your books and your works to make this available to us. Do you have any other thoughts on encouragement to beginning students in any way? What is your I mean, when you started, if you were looking at a friend's chart, for instance, would you do a special procedure, prayers or something? No?
No. I'm a very bad man.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I am very bad man. I
see.
have all the bad habits of life. I smoke. I do everything.
I'm
Right?
shocked. Well, you're very candid with your bad behavior. So
No. I am not harsh. But I enjoy my life. That's all.
excellent. Well,
Yes.
I think that's a very valuable piece of information. We're working on we're looking at this, this exalted knowledge that's been passed down to us, and it's nice to know, perhaps, that a little wandering off the straight line could also be okay. I think
Yeah.
that's actually a valuable piece of information to our listeners. So that strikes me as being quite amusing, as you can tell. But so your process is pretty much, Goel G, did you mention obliquely that you're Gemini Lugna? So you just
Yeah.
so it's pretty much it's an intellectual approach. You study the knowledge, and you give the information.
Yeah. Now, I normally answer one question only. When will I get married? How is my marriage? That's all.
Eyes, okay.
No,
That's
I don't do life readings, etc.
okay. That's also good to know. That makes sense. I was wondering how you could manage to do all these things. So I'm feeling better about myself now that you're focused not on dealing with all and sundry in the general public. And thank
No,
goodness.
I am not doing that. I am
Okay.
not doing.
So, but back to the beginning students of Jyotish, what would you say? Just, you must do your reading. I mean, there's no
Yes.
and reading and memorization, or just
No, not memorization. It is
okay,
application.
application. Okay, so
Yes.
so reading and then experimenting with people's.
Now, how people read, that I have seen,
Okay,
they will just read and then say, why, what?
okay,
For that, I say, first clear your brain totally.
clear your brain.
Don't have any past inhibitions or past things. When you are learning something, your brain has to be empty
Well,
so
that
that you
should be
can
easy.
take it inside.
Okay. Yes. Well, good. Very good point.
Yeah. So sometimes people have their own notions, own feelings, so they miss the point. Basic point they will miss. And when you are reading a book, read something which clicks. Yes, there is some point in this.
Right.
Then keep aside that book and think over it, ponder. Maybe half an hour, 1 hour. Stop reading.
Okay.
That is what I do. I read some shloka, something, some verse which appeal to me. Then I get up, go and fight with my wife. Okay, have some arguments, eat something, and then come back again
Well,
to refresh it.
well, there's probably a modern Western application for that behavior and study too. Good for you. Well,
Yeah.
so what do you? Can I sort of change the topic a little bit to see what your
Yes, yes.
what your plans are for the near future? I mean, of course, you'll be teaching your beautiful classes. How about a
Yeah.
two-pronged question? Could you tell us about the classes that
Yes.
you'll be teaching?
No, classes, I am not taking any basic classes normally. I take in a month, say about 2, 3 webinars on whatever topic they want. And what I am engaged now, basically, is writing a series of book on Saral Jyotish.
I
That
see.
is astrology simplified.
Simply, all right.
Simplified. Simple astrology.
That would be good for a beginning student, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it touches all the basic points. Like one topic I am going to take, Kendra Adhipati Dosh.
Yes. I never liked that idea, but oops,
So,
maybe
like
that's
this, I have picked up many topics like Badhak,
right.
planetary war,
Right.
who are Karak planets. So, like this, I have picked up about 30, 40 topics.
Okay.
Vipreet Raj Yog,
Right.
what is the strongest Vipreet Raj Yog?
Okay.
Karko Bhavanashaya, the house dispositor in the house,
Oh,
Karak in the house, how it spoils the house
I never
or
liked that
not.
idea either. I just don't like that idea either. But I hope you're finding a remedy, or maybe do the rules sometimes not apply through the passage of time, perhaps?
Mhm. No,
Uh,
no. What I am doing is don't be afraid of these things.
okay.
When they work, when they do not work.
I
These are all from classics.
okay.
So that I am doing. I have completed part one of that. It has gone for printing. I plan to write 2, 3 parts more. Like retrograde planet, combustion.
Okay.
What is the effect of combustion?
All right. Well, that's
Yeah, that
certainly
I am
something.
trying to do.
So you're going to be keeping very busy here in at the end of this month and in September. So on the screen now are your courses, your courses. So this looks fascinating. Um,
Yeah. So
well,
this is what the responsibility I have been given. I will try to do it.
well, Well, based on what we've learned in our conversation, I'm sure you'll do it brilliantly, to the benefit of future practicing Jyotishis.
Yeah.
It is to be hoped. Um, so further, you know, we see that you're going to be very busy through the month of September, but your plans
Yeah.
then in the future include more writing and research and.
Yeah, in the meantime, when I am not doing this webinar, I start writing.
Well, that's wonderful. It's a good thing you have such a nice wife to take care of you so that you can write books for us.
Yeah. This I am doing for last 20 years,
Yes.
and they are tolerating me.
Ah, that's wonderful.
My family is tolerating me.
Uh, well, you can thank them on our behalf very much
Yeah, thank you.
for their indulgence of you. So, Shri Goelji, is there anything that you would like to offer that we haven't touched on in terms of a question? Do you have any, I don't know, any parting words
Any
of
question?
wisdom, or uh, I think that we do have questions from our readers,
Yeah.
and I think that some of them are some of them. Well, someone is making. Minakshi is saying that your divisional chart courses are also on demand at jyotish.com. And she says that they're best-selling courses, especially your work on the D9 and the D10. So that's a reminder. And then I think, with all due respect to our listeners, I think that what I'm seeing here are questions on a personal level. I don't know if they're asking for a friend, but let's see. So hang on a bit. Let me see. People are thanking you, yes, and talking about aspects for marriage. So, well, I think actually that your offerings have covered what
Yeah.
the listeners are asking about. Well, someone has just submitted something asking which book you recommend to learn more about retrograde and combustions. So you said you'll be
I'm writing
writing
it.
on that. That's your next book.
I have some webinar on retrogression,
Okay.
but I think that I had done for Russian students. I had a full course of 2 or 3 sessions for retrograde planets.
Okay.
I'm writing it now. Maybe in 2 months' time it will come.
Well, fresh off the presses. More information on retrograde planets. That's excellent. So well,
There is a question from Scott, I believe. It's Goelji, have you found Venus or Rahu dashas being important for marriage?
No, it depends on the chart. You cannot say that Rahu will give marriage.
well, what about Venus?
Venus, I got married in Venus Dasha, but it has to have some connection with your marriage. It's not general. I do not take them as general that Venus and Rahu Dasha will give marriage. No, I may be wrong, but this is my feeling.
I
This is
love
my
that.
feeling.
God bless you. So
Any Dasha can give if it is related.
sure. You mean if
If
it's
it is promising marriage, yeah.
so?
All
Well,
right. There's one more question, Charlotte, if I may just plug that in.
of course.
From Shilpa ji, the question is the third aspect of Saturn from the 11th house. Is it same as if it is sitting in the Lagna? Or
It is an aspect. It is not sitting there. It is an aspect. See how you get the karkatva or the significations. These significations are, first is natural significations, which are written, that this planet is the significator of this. Then second is acquired significations. Acquired signification is by your lordship, by the lordship of the planet. It is the acquired signification, or where the planet is sitting. Then the third type of signification is the imposed by the aspect of other planet.
Oh,
They are not there, but they are imposing on the planet to which they are aspecting. They are forcing him. So, when a planet is sitting with a planet, he is sitting in the same house, they are under the same circumstances. When the planet is aspecting, he is not there, but he is throwing his weight on that planet. See, this is the difference. So that is why aspect is taken stronger than association.
Could
Aspect of it.
could you repeat that? You're saying that aspect from a planet is stronger than maybe a conjunction of planets?
Conjunction. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Why?
Okay.
Because
No,
the planet who is aspecting is not going there. He is not under the same circumstances, but he is forcing the other planet to do his work.
And so you would say that's an imposed. I've never heard that term before, but well, I like your. That seems to me like that could be used as a contemporary idea. That's quite wonderful. So
It is imposed.
yes, I get that now. So
Yeah.
well, that's food for thought. So there's all sorts of these little gems in your books, I'm thinking.
I don't know.
Yes. So
You must read them.
yes, I must. I shall. Thank you.
And one thing I tell
Yes.
you,
Mm.
if you are not feeling sleepy, so read them at your bedtime and you will go to sleep early,
Oh,
very fast.
oh, that's funny. You're so modest. Right. Well, well, I would look forward to that effect. So bless your heart. Well, we look forward to your courses on beginning on August 29th. So
Yeah.
Meenakshi or Surabji, are you do we have any
Yes,
final?
there's one more question that is coming from YouTube Live.
Yeah.
I'm not sure well how, but there's a question that if you could advise us at least one technique on birth time rectification, that would be very great, helpful.
No, it is not possible. It is not possible because I do the correction by divisional charts.
Wow.
And you have to learn divisional charts before you do the corrections. It cannot be given in one sentence.
Hmm.
Some students, they have picked up a technique. Okay, let me share one technique of one chart that I do for D24. D24 is the chart of your education, learning. Gemini takes MK as the Karak for learning, the fourth house also. And Parasharji takes fifth house as the house of learning. So your MK should be connected to fifth house, fifth lord, Lagna lord of D24. If it is not so, change your Lagna a bit, say by 2-3 minutes, and it will come. And that will be your Lagna.
Wow. That is an amazing, powerful, and subtle bit of information. Yikes.
I have given many information today, I think.
Yes, you certainly have. We're very grateful for your time to offer your pearls of wisdom to us, and look forward to further conversations with you. So,
No, I don't deserve anything. It is all God's grace,
okay.
not me.
Well, our listeners are very grateful that God has graced you with your abilities.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Thank you.
yes, absolutely. So, well, is there anything else that we need? Anyone else want to question
Yeah.
or comment?
So, Charlotte ji, from my side, Charlotte, the question which comes quite from the Ajit again and again,
Yes.
saying, yeah, you'll have 2 questions. So, if you
Yeah.
can just ask that, that would be lovely.
Well, but all right. So there's a dedicated listener, and he asked the same 2 questions for each of the speakers. And the first one, I don't think it applies to you necessarily. He's asking, well, maybe it does. Excuse me. What is your normal procedure for looking at a chart, and also a rough estimate of how many charts you've looked at over the course of your career?
I don't remember. I don't remember how many charts.
Right.
Yeah. Because I don't do any professional consultancy.
Right.
Okay. And the procedure, I simply, whenever somebody asks me a question, I answer only one question. So I concentrate on that question only from the chart, birth chart, divisional chart, and dasha. I always use Yogini dasha, then Char dasha, and then come to Vimshottari dasha, and take help of any special dasha applicable on that horoscope. So these are the 4 dashas I use at a time.
Wow. I mean, golly, that's amazingly complex. Well,
this is the procedure I follow.
Okay. Well, it's so interesting how every accomplished Jyotishi has a slightly different method of approaching a birth chart. It is. That's wonderful. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to offer?
I think everyone has to develop his own approach.
Okay.
You cannot teach that approach.
Oh, all right. Good point.
Yes.
It develops out of the personality or the character or the experience of the Jyotishi.
Yeah.
I see.
Nobody can teach you that.
Okay, but that does come from experience then, doesn't it?
Yes, it comes from experience.
Very, very well said. So, Good. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you to you also, all of them, all my friends. Be happy.
Yeah. Thank you, Goelji. Pretty much
Thank
now
you.
we are close to the session. While
Yeah.
we will close with the closing mantra, there are obviously the questions and the comments coming in terms of thanking you from
Thank you.
multiple places, especially saying that we learned a lot during this time. And I can definitely speak to it that I could not move from my chair today.
Yeah.
Nicely listening to Goelji, and especially when he is getting into the chart itself and talking about lot of this, lot of that. You have to focus and understand, get that technique when the teacher is teaching in front of you instead of going back to that. So it was really lovely. So thanks a lot, Goelji, and thanks a lot, Charlotte, for beautifully
Thank
conducting,
you.
helping
My
us out.
pleasure. I could join with you, with all the friends and great people. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Goelji. Yeah. So we will just close with the closing mantra and we'll pass it on to Rani ji
Sure,
right now.
sure. Thank you so much, Goelji. Very profound, very riveting session as always.
Thank you.
I was
Thank
in
you.
all the divisional classes that you took starting this
Oh,
year.
okay.
Fantastic, amazing. I learned so
Yes.
much in all those classes and now too. And I look forward to your classes during the conference, during the Mela. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Namaskar ji. Thank you, Charlotte ji. Thank you, Meenakshi, Saurabh
Thank
ji.
you. Thank you all.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
Shanti.
हरिः ओम् Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
everyone for joining. Only thing I would like to mention is ki if you have any question regarding the Jyotish Mela, which is coming up starting next weekend, do feel free to reach out to me on ms@jyotish.com. And for all the information and the updated schedule, go to jyotish.com and there will be a point where you can see the video as well as look into the conference schedule. Looking forward to see you in coming weekend. And if with your question and concern, do send it to me in the email. That will be lovely.
Thank
Thank you.
So thank you.
Bye.
Looking
Thanks a
forward
lot.
to it. Okay. Bye bye. See you again soon.
Bye. See you.